Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Wholesaling with Lenny. I am your host, Lenny Smith. I'm CEO of the Smith Financial Relief Group. Guys, we got a very, very special guest tonight coming live straight from Tampa, Miss
Woo-hoo.
Alexis Monroe. How you doing, Alexis?
Hello, hello. I am doing well. How are you?
I am great. Now, guys, Alexis is down there in Tampa. She is the broker of Lexland Realty down there.
Yes.
She has built an awesome team of realtors. These guys are awesome in Tampa. So if you guys ever need anything moved in Tampa or acquired in Tampa, please reach out to Alexis Monroe. So, man, hey, tell us, man, how your day been going so far?
I agree. I agree. it has been well. We are working on some land deals. We've got some agents that have some wholesale deals under contract as well. I do a lot of my day is agent support. So they all have 24/7 support. And so that's a lot of it is just kind of putting out fires and giving them the support to get so they can get to the closing table.
So right now, where you are in your business, like you're working, like you're not a slave to being a broker, right? Like you're literally working outside of the business now to bring business into the business, right? This is what most CEOs, aim to do, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah, this is what most CEOs aim to do, not to be stuck in the business, but you still run the business, but you're outside of the business, able to bring business, into the firm, and
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and acquire more agents and more deals. You are what we would consider the land queen, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, I've had an opportunity to buy some landlocked property. Um,
Okay.
now I didn't buy the landlocked property, and I'm gonna be honest with you because I didn't understand what the landlocked property was. And it was in the middle. It was in the same. It was actually in Memphis, right?
Okay.
A lot of property down there that they do got in Memphis. It's really cheap land, and I was trying to get a few parcels, and it was actually landlocked, like
Okay.
in the middle of something, right?
Okay.
And I didn't know whether or not I should go ahead, and buy those pieces of land. What would be your advice for me on that?
For landlocked, yeah. I've overcome wide range of different issues. From there could be all kinds of things wrong with land, from being landlocked to wetlands to having liens to a clouded title. There could be all kind of issues. So you do want to make sure you're doing that research. I'm happy that you were able to already, before buying it, see the issue, right? Because a lot of times what happens is people buy it and then they come and they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I didn't know it was landlocked. So I'm happy that you know that, and that puts you in a position of power where now you can negotiate based on now you can negotiate because that's not really a desirable thing. Um, the good thing, so I believe that there's a will, there's a way. That whatever issue there is, there's always a creative solution around it. Um, but the short answer is that landlocked land means that it's impossible to access unless you get permission from another from the owner of the land who's in front of yours. So in the state of Florida, we are if you go to court, they will allow you. It's called an implied easement, and they will allow you to. They will basically make the previous owner sign off on the land parcel, but you got to go to court. You got to go to the closing cost. You got to go through lawyer fees, things like that. So it makes the land more. It makes it more. It takes the value down less because you're going to have to go through those hoops to be able to make it accessible. That's in the state of Florida, though. I can't speak for Missouri. I know that in the state of Florida, our statute guides us so that um, it's called an implied easement, where as long as uh, if they were there is some things that you want to look into to make sure it can actually be that the court will approve it, but you'll have to read the statute to find that out. So it is going to require some research, and you want to see in your state whether or not they're going to make this previous owners make the owners that are in the way, if they're going to make them sign off on it. So yeah, for as far as landlocked, it just takes research. If you're talking to the seller, though, I would tell the seller like, hey, like this is worthless, right? because you're going to have to, you can't access it. It's impossible. Then you can go ahead and get it for almost nothing. And then that's when you start going in and trying to make something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's how you can get those really cheap lots.
So I can go in, buy those few lots that's landlocked, and eventually, offer more money to,
Correct. To
on
fix it,
the
yeah. It's just like when you're fixing flipping, like you go buy a house with issues, you fix the issues, and then you sell it for more, right? You typically, everybody knows about home flipping, but with land flipping, it's interesting because you can actually buy, something that has issues that you just can't see, right? Like the landlocked issues, an issue you can't necessarily see, but that's what we go for. I love buying land parcels that have a whole bunch of liens that have issues, because then you get them next to nothing, right? You can get land parcels for like, I've bought land for as low as $100 because I had all these issues, right? Then I'll fix it, like go to court, read the statutes, try to make it better, and then I could sell it. So, I see that as an opportunity, but it does take a lot of, work and grind.
That is definitely an opportunity. So, like, you actually teach people this. You actually have a land course.
Yes,
Right,
yep.
where you teach people about
Buy
this.
and quickly sell cheap land. Yep.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, tell us about the course. Tell us about the course.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, I bought my first land parcel for $2,200 from a tax auction, and then I sold it for $12,500 within 3 weeks later. And then from that deal, I was kind of bold and ballsy, and I put my 2-week notice in, and I quit my job and started doing it full time. And then I did 30 of them that year. And so I realized I was able to live on my own through buying and quickly selling cheap lots. And that's when the brokerage got born, because I was buying lots. Then I got in contact with builders. Builders were reaching out to me wanting to list their homes because I had builders give me all of their new construction listings. So then I met first time home buyers. Then I took those profits and started flipping homes. And then, I always wanted to creatively own real estate. So I learned how to do subject to, things like that, just creatively own real estate. And I think that when you learn how to master land and do land transactions, you can master all kind of real estate, and it can put you in the situation to quit your job, to open a real estate brokerage, to go sell luxury homes, commercial homes. Every real estate starts with land.
So hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. So, what in your mind? What in your mind? What possessed you? Okay, what really possessed you? Because people sit and read all day long.
Mm-hmm.
They watch 1,000 hours of video, two, 3
Mm-hmm.
hours of video, and they don't do anything right. And then
Mm-hmm.
you do have some people who do invest a little bit, but then they still hold on to their job, right? They're still holding on to that security, right? Because
Right.
they know that check's there. They know that check's coming. Even if they go and have to do the minimum work, they know that check's coming, right? What possessed you to just say, hey, you know what? I locked this first deal down. I can do this. And I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm going to build this. What spoke to you on that? What
I
spoke?
think, man, I mean, so my professor was talking about people owning, people could own property for back taxes. And I never saw myself as someone who could own real estate because I didn't have a good credit score, just mainly because of my debt to income ratio. In law school, I had over $200,000 in debt because of law school. And I went to top university, the Ohio State. And, I also
Okay.
did, huh?
Say go Buckeyes.
Yeah. I did Howard University for a year as well. So I went to very, very expensive colleges, and then I was working as a case manager, only making maybe 40,000 a year. So there was never really a clear path for me to be able to own real estate or own home. And so that's when I was like, well, the numbers are not as scary, right? You're talking about $2,000, not $200,000 when you talk about homes. So I'm like, well, that's something like obtaining. Now it's becoming more realistic because the numbers are smaller. And so that's kind of took the fear away by starting small and going into land. That's what, for me, that's what helped the fear. And, I always I think my parents instilled that, you know, there's something you want to do, you can do it. You're just gonna have to find a creative way to get there. That's anything with life. Like the sky
Yeah.
is no limit. It's just,
And that
you
is
know,
the attitude. That is the attitude most entrepreneurs fail to adopt in the beginning,
mm,
right? But once you adopt that attitude and you adopt that into your daily life, anything's possible, right? As they say, the poor man says, "I can't afford it," and the rich man says, "How can I afford it?" Right?
I like
So,
that.
so that
I
so
like
that
that.
so
Yeah,
that goes with saying, you know what I mean? So
that's
you get
exactly
somebody
right.
say, "Oh man, you can't do that. You can't afford that." So it's literally supposed to be, "How can I afford that? How can I do
That's
that?" Right?
absolutely right.
So
Yep.
that's when that creative thinking, as you was mentioning earlier, that creative thinking actually comes into play, right? Where you can sit down, as you said, analyze, certain deals, certain situations, and then you can pretty much press the green button, and just go. So, how long were you a realtor? Like, did you do the normal, what was it, 2 years in Florida for
Yeah,
your?
you have to be a real estate agent for 2 years before you can apply for a broker's license. And yep, at that 2 year mark, I went ahead and took the test to become a broker. So I was only an agent for 2 years. I feel like I've been doing this for decades, but
Yeah,
then I was looking back the other day. I came across, you know how Facebook comes up like memories, and I realized I guess it was in August of 2019 when I had sold my first land parcel, and I'm like, wow, I've really only been doing it 3 years.
that's
But
because there's so many deals that's been
yeah, I'm like, dang, but I've been through all kinds of issues and overcome them, and I did 30 in the first year.
30.
Yeah, yeah. And
Hold
so
on, hold on, pause. Because, as you know, statistically, right, the average realtor, does, 1 to 3 homes the first year.
right.
So,
Well, I did 30 land deals.
with 30 land deals.
Yeah.
So, 30
Yeah.
land
And
deals.
they take it, the deals take almost as much as selling a home. Um they take almost as much work and time involved. The difference is they're just a little bit bigger profits because I'm actually the one owning the land and then selling it. When I was doing my land deals, I was a one woman show. So I was the buyer, I was the buyer's agent, I was the title company, I had to clear the title, I
Mm,
was the selling agent, I had to sell it, I was the attorney, I had to draft the paperwork, draft the deeds. A lot of the closings, I would go meet them at the bank, like right where their bank is. If they bank with Mid Florida, whatever, we'd set up a closing there and I'd draft the paperwork and they'd wire me over the money and then I'd go record the deed. It was just done like that. Or sometimes I would go to their house. We'd close in front of the lot. Um, we did a lot of creative things. And so when you learn how, and that's what the course teaches you, how to take the deal all the way from the beginning to the closing. And then once you know how to do that, you literally, there's no type of real estate you're afraid of, or there's really you really master all you can master all types of real estate after you get those fundamentals with the land deals. And you can get into, your multi-family, or you want to start a brokerage, you want to do fix and flips. Like your brain gets filled with so much valuable information from learning how to buy land and then sell it.
no doubt, man, no doubt. So, you did mention law school. You did mention
Mhm.
law school. Did you always wanted to be a realtor? Like, so did you study
No,
business
no, I
law
didn't. Yeah,
or
I went to law school because of case management. I was a case manager dealing with child dependency, and that's what I wanted to go to law school so I could have a seat at the table where important decisions were made in that child welfare field. I just felt like I was so powerful in that field, but I couldn't make any changes from the position I had because I didn't have the education to. So I couldn't make the difference that I wanted to make in that field. So I went to law school to get that law degree and then come back and save the kids. But then when I was in law school, they were talking about like my professor mentioned tax deeds, and uh, they started talking about. I took business organizations class and properties class, contracts class, and everything started making sense on how I could At the time I thought it was easy, and I guess it is now, but how I could easily acquire real estate,
Right.
or where, get a path towards real estate, because I always thought I was an outlier because of my student debt. My debt to income was too high, and I didn't have a good credit. So there was never a clear path, and that bothered me. That wasn't fair. I paid my bills on time. I had made it 40,000. I went to college. Why are you telling me I can't own a home? What did I do? Like, they make me feel like a criminal. Like, it's not
Yeah.
fair. So, I was determined to make a way where I could own real estate and own homes.
Most definitely, most definitely. So after doing, your 2 year tenure as a realtor, so you did 60 deals in those 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
did
yeah,
60 land deals,
yeah.
2 years. That is a lot of work. Props to you on that. Props to you on that, if because that is epic, right? Uh,
Yeah.
now that you've stepped into broker role, and you coach, you mentor, obviously, you have the course. What does a morning look like for you? Like, what does your
It's
average
always different.
like?
Every day is different. Like I said, we offer 24/7 support for the team. So a lot of it, I'm giving agent support. I do a lot of interviews, like Zoom interviews, if you're interested in joining, for people coming onto the team. I am getting into content, because while I was out doing these deals, I was not really big on social media. I didn't see it. I had a small circle of friends that we congratulated the closings and successes and stuff with each other, but really none of my friends were big on social media. But then when I had this passion to start putting other people on game and to start showing other people the skill set. I wanted to, I seen the impact social media was having. So that is a big part of it. And growing the team. I still have land parcels. Some of the agents help me sell. They also have their own. I'm helping people get into their own land parcels and their own flips as well.
Now that is beautiful. Yeah, man, that's beautiful. How many so actually, I'm sorry, before we get to how many agents that's in the brokerage, if anybody's in Tampa and they watching this and it was like, hey, I'm about to join the brokerage, just got my license, I don't know what to do. What can they do to get in touch with you? Because I got the link down at the bottom.
Yes, well, we are the #1 real estate brokerage choice for agents, with the focus on investing, not just selling real estate. That's our vision for all agents. And so you just want to go to lexlandrealty.com and click join Lexland. And then we've got videos on there that go in detail with everything that you're going to get, how we've been helping realtors skyrocket their real estate businesses, and how we can help you as well. And then we'll hop on a Zoom call and see if make sure that we're going to be a good fit. Make sure you're going to be a good fit with us, and then we will onboard you and get you closing exceeding your real estate goals.
Nice, most definitely. Yeah, because a lot of people be stuck on that. Because I feel like new realtors sometimes they just see a whole bunch of red and white signs, or blue, red, white, and blue signs, and they they kind of shift. But yeah, man, so how many realtors do you have currently?
So right now we have 35 throughout Tampa Bay, and then we have a couple in Pensacola and in West Palm Beach. Majority of our agents are in Tampa, but we are expanding to other cities as well. Yeah, yep, and we are creating systems to be able to onboard hundreds. We want to take this model with agents flipping homes, agents investing. We want to take that and help as many people as we can. So that is our vision. We're kind of like, have you heard of EXP Realty or like Central Keller Williams? Kind of like
the
bigger traditional brokers is. So that's we are what EXP was 8 years ago, right? But now we are, instead of just the traditional real estate services, we offer all of that plus free wholesaling courses and investor like training. So that's what makes us unique. But we offer everything that EXP offers, except we put the investor hat on for our agents as well.
Nice, man. That is awesome. So you really do a lot. You got a lot of stuff brewing.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. This is just the very, very beginning.
That's awesome. Guys, listen, go follow her on Instagram too, right? If you guys don't know, it's at the bottom of the screen. Go follow her on Instagram. She has some
Alexis Monroe 22.
nice
Uh,
Instagram
well,
content.
like I said, I just started getting on Instagram. I just started it like maybe a couple months ago. I never was social media. A lot of times, I think the people that are really making power moves, sometimes there's not enough time to post everything.
Exactly.
And so, but I'm making time, so I am interested in growing more of a social media platform to help other people more so than just be out there. The goal is to help as many people become wealthy as I can. That's my mission.
Most definitely, most definitely. That is awesome, man. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
Lenny.
people kind of sit in a little box and go about their business, and
Yeah,
I'm a broker, and y'all just go work and
yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean. So that is definitely glad to hear. Sounds like you'd be a great someone to be a coach or mentor if I was looking to be a realtor. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
so
Yeah,
far,
mhm.
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, people. I think a lot of times people think they want to work by themselves or they want to be as rich as they can, but in reality, I think people just want to be happy and have freedom and to be significant, to feel significant, and that's what we teach here. And once you start activating that, that's when the money and things and the deals start flowing in easily. That's what I think we found. That's what we teach at Lexington Realty.
Most definitely. So going back to the land deals, right? What is like what is the one of the most important lessons that you learned in dealing with land?
Mm. The most important lesson is that there's always a way around something. Always. Always. I don't care. Bring me all kind of issues. We're gonna find a way around it. Yep. We're gonna find a way.
That is what's up.
And you gotta have that grit to get there. Yep.
Yeah.
So it makes me not afraid to buy. I know, especially when I first started, I'm aggressive with risks. Um, and I know it scared a lot of my family. I mean, can you imagine I quit my job the first deal? Like that's not really,
Yeah.
I don't recommend that per se, uh but I knew that there's a way around anything that you want to do, especially when you stay in tune, you have a relationship with your higher self, with God, the universe, when you connect with your higher power, there is literally nothing that can stop you from your vision. So you just have to go for it. And because I do have a good relationship with my higher power, it makes it so like when I see something, we're gonna go at it full force.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like believing in achieving. You know what I mean? There's nothing like it. You know what I mean? There's nothing like it. There's nothing greater than seeing the work of your own hands and knowing that if nobody else had your back, that your higher power had your back.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. And when you have that, you're not scared.
most definitely.
So, I
So
love that.
so I wanted to touch on the events because you do a lot of events, and I just wanted to touch on real quick. What is like you do have mingling with millionaires,
Mingling with the millionaires. Yes,
right?
sir.
And let's talk about mingling with millionaires.
Yes, so that is going to be the biggest networking event in Tampa Bay. We do have people coming from all over the United States coming down. We are going to have just all the power players in Tampa Bay. So we have your $1 million empire owners, people who have over $1 million of assets, people who've sold over millions of real estate. We've got the mayor coming and mayors of nearby cities, CEOs of nonprofits, bank owners, people that are really making significant power moves in Tampa, and the reason why Tampa is what it is. Like they're creating the Tampa Bay and our cities. And so we're really excited about that Mingling with Millionaires event because for me, networking is what really also helped form this big picture, and it helps give you the blocks to your next steps. The universe is going to put those people in your place, and I do believe that you're definitely going to meet people at this event that could potentially change the trajectory of your future. Yeah, my mentor, I know 4 years ago, I had walked into a networking event by myself, and I just was bored one day. I seen it on Eventbrite, and all of those, the teacher and all of his friends, they all became my best friends. And even today, like all of them are just doing powerful things. All of us are. And so they've been my best friends since. And to give back, really, I want to create a similar atmosphere, and so that everybody walks away with a contact of something that they can uh, grow from. All these people were not paying anybody to come speak at the event. This is all, they just want to give back and pour into the community. And so this is the time to, come out and meet your mentors, and the people that can help you achieve your goals. But yeah, we want you to, it's for everyone. I know some people have been asking, well, I'm not a millionaire, can I come? And I'm like, absolutely. That's the point. Like, we need you here so that you're in the room with millionaires. That exactly. What do they say? This quote: if there's 5 really millionaires in the room, you're the 6th, then you'll be the 6th. Like, you need to come because you're actually a lot closer to millionaire status than what you think. And by making the move to even show up to an event with that name on it, you're already telling the universe, this is where you need to be. That's where you want to be. And then everything else starts coming behind it, but it starts in your mind. So come to the event, get poured into. We've got just lots of fun. It's going to be a DJ, live music, cocktails. We have cocktails with the mayor. Like, come on, let's have fun and talk and make some power. Continue making power moves. We do have a VIP, exclusive VIP tables, and then there's general admission. But it's going to be a good time. Live music. We have dance performances. We got a local celebrity, a local rapper. She's going to come and entertain. She's a dancer. We like to have fun. Nice. So, and I'm hosting it with Black Excellence as well. They're a nonprofit here in Tampa.
Most definitely. So that's Saturday, October 22nd.
Saturday, October 22nd, 6:00. It's going down.
And that is at the Embark Collective.
Embark Collective. Yes. And right now it's in Tampa. Yeah. We would love to start expanding into other states for next year. We haven't talked about it yet, but that is on the pipeline, and for to do a similar events in other states. Because we're doing here in Tampa, we selected 10 people to know. So 10 people that are experts in their industry that you'll have the opportunity to mingle with and get to pick their brains in a Q&A section.
Most definitely. So you're a broker now, right? You're a broker now.
Licensed real estate broker in the state of Florida. Yes, sir.
Coach, you're the guru of the land deals, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what is the best part about your job?
Man, so I just love watching other people become successful with the same strategies that I was becoming successful with. So it feels like literally I live for the feeling to watch an agent who doesn't know anything about real estate, and they come in, they're like, I just just want to learn and grow, and a couple months later they start closing deals every single month. I mean, they start walking different, talking different. They they own rooms now. They can their social media looks different. Like, I live for that feeling to somebody who doesn't know much about real estate at all, and then they just start killing the game. And that's why I do it, because even when I was by myself the first year and I was making a whole bunch of money, crazy quick profits, money comes and goes, and that it just comes and goes, right? You spend it, you make it, you spend it, you make it. There's no satisfaction. There's not fulfillment in that. But what's fulfilling is how the feelings that you bring to other people and the value you pour into them, because then the way the universe works, it comes back to you, and that's how you get fulfilled, and that's how you keep your cup full, by pouring into other people. So that's what I love about it, and it doesn't feel like work. I did jump back in the game after living the freedom and selling lots when I felt like it, just working a one woman team. But I did come back in the game, and it doesn't feel like work. This is what I love to do. This is why I feel like I was born. So it's to lead this brokerage and be number one in Tampa Bay.
Most definitely. So, as far as creative deals, we talked about creative deals. I've done a few creative deals. I got a few creative deals closing up, actually. When you approach, because I was talking to another, I was talking to Jay Wicker. We did my first podcast together, and Jay Wicker was actually telling me about when I submit an offer, don't just submit the cash offer, but submit a cash offer as well as a contract for deed offer, as well as a sub 2 offer if it has a mortgage on it, as well as on the financing if it's free and clear. What is your strategy? Because I've seen sub 2.
Yeah. So the problem with going to a seller and offering all those different strategies is that a lot of people just don't know what a subject to is or a contract deed is, and they don't know you, so they don't have any reason to trust you. And if you try to start using too much language, it'll confuse them, and confusion leads to people not trusting you even more. And so I do not recommend doing subject to deals with strangers or cold calls. Unless you put in years with that seller, unless you put in, I'm saying you guys have really gotten a rapport going, because it's just too complicated to understand. And whenever someone's confused, they're just confused. So you want to make your offers to the seller as simple as possible. Our subject to deals a lot of times are not from individual sellers. They are from companies who already understand what that is. And that's how we're structuring our subject to deals. They're from and banks as well. So yeah, some people assume that subject to deals have to come from a seller. If they're motivated, then if the seller's motivated, then that means they're going to be willing to allow you to keep the mortgage in their name. And that's just, it's not very beneficial to that old seller because they're still responsible for that mortgage. When we're wholesaling, we want to make sure we truly are creating win-win situations. And so I just be careful with making all kinds of difficult offers to sellers because they just don't understand it. They understand like a simple, basic as is contract, right? Like the contract that you use, they probably understand that, and a closing date. So you want to make it as simple as possible for your offers.
Yeah, most definitely. Because normally whenever I send out an offer, me and my seller, we talk about it. If we got any questions or any issues with, like you said, the verbiage. I was actually at Keller Williams today with 2 agents that's helping me close on my 16 unit,
Nice.
14 unit in here in Missouri. And the seller, we was, all of us was talking, and then the seller was like, "There's those code words again," So
he said that.
Yeah, he's like, "There's the code words again," but he was joking about, but he got it. But he's to the point where if he didn't have like 100 properties, he wouldn't know what he was talking about. So
yeah, that's
we was just in a formal, we was in a formal business setting. So he was just kind of
So he knew who you talked, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So when I like when I go through, I always let them know. Like just for instance, this seller here, like shout outs to the realtors on this Carrie Ballou, Dalton, as well as Tamara Simpson. Actually, I'm kind of doing this service here is actually Dalton Caswell. Okay, so Dalton Caswell, Carrie Ballou, and Tamara Simpson. Shout out to those guys for helping me put this deal together. Because when we sent the creative deal out, we was having a lot of mixed feedback, right? Some of the brokers was like, "Wait, what?" And then the seller,
some brokers don't even know what you're talking about.
And then the seller was like, "Wait, what?" And then, when the realtor actually broke it down to those guys, right? 'Cause these guys are nice, right? So when the
Nice.
realtors actually broke it down, it's like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a whole different skill set. So it's one thing to offer something to a seller that makes sense, and it's another thing to be able to explain something to a seller
Exactly.
where it makes sense. Those are two
Exactly.
completely different skills. So you can have the most greatest idea for the offer that is a win-win in your head, but then you trying to explain that literally people go to school for it, people have degrees in it. It's called marketing. It's like how you are able to take this concept and then convince someone that it makes sense. So that's a different skill set. And in your situation, it seemed like it worked well with the agent. The agent was able to do that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. Because
Well, congratulations.
yeah, because I always like to break it down, like break everything down. You know what I mean? So, I was able to, kind of help the realtor out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
kind of seem like, yeah, I don't know how you are with sellers, but like also like that meek personality, that like
yeah,
humbleness.
yeah,
That's what sellers need to feel. They don't want to feel like you don't want to come all this like powerful. I got all this money. I'm an investor and I buy 100 real estate. That's a turnoff. Like nobody, coming with you seem like kind of like laid back and like,
yeah. That's a turn off in life.
know.
That's real though. You know what I mean? Like, that's a turn off in life. Like, okay, we get it. And want a cookie, as they used to say. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man. I like those deals, those creative deals. Can you just kind of walk us through a deal?
like like a creative deal,
Yeah, yeah, creative
a
deal.
creative financing deal. So yeah, I mean the first home that I ever owned was a subject to deal because I found it was through a company and I bought it for $7,000 from some of the land profits I was doing. And then I just paid them $7,000 and they gave me the deed. I was aware of I was going to have to pay a mortgage off. So I think the mortgage was 170 and the house was worth about 230. So I bought it for 7,000 and then I could have kept it and made payments on the mortgage, but instead I was really excited to just make these quick profits. So I ended up selling it and putting it on the market. And then I didn't make any payments while I owned it. I just made the payments. The buyer, when they bought the home for 230, then 170 or out of that paid the mortgage, and then the rest came to me.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I was able to yeah, to own a home without having to bypass traditional mortgage requirements.
Right. So
Um,
you locked it in, and as going back earlier to we was talking about, the credit wasn't as perfect as it is now. You know what I mean? And you was able to get into that deal. You was able to cash flow that deal. You was able
correct,
to sell that deal,
correct.
and
Yes,
you were able to move on. See, that's what creative thinking does, right?
yes,
That's
absolutely,
what
absolutely.
when it comes to I can't afford it versus how can I afford it, right? This is where we at now today, having an interview on the podcast. Basically,
Exactly. Yep. They were like, I was talking to a lender, and they were like, you are gonna have to make $200,000 out of law school
mm,
just to afford a regular $200,000 home. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, that's crazy. Because if I'm making $200,000 a year, statistically, I should be able to afford close to an eight or
yeah,
$900,000 home.
exactly.
And you're telling me I can just get a regular home, but then what are the chances with my law degree that I'm going to be making 200 out of law school? It just wasn't fair. And I was like, but I'm a good citizen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got
Why
everything
don't I
too.
get to own home and all these people? Or, you can get married to own home that way, right? But I was like, that's not fair. Like, I shouldn't have to depend on a man to get a home.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, I should be able to go ahead and get this. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Definitely.
Right. So it kind of ignited a passion, which was like, no, there's gotta be a way. Like was like I always say, I did write a book about it. If there's a will, there's a way.
Most definitely. So now you are a coach, right? You are a coach,
Yes.
and um,
For the agents, I just started release the courses The courses just came out last month. And so they have been going very well. My agents have had access to the courses. But yeah, I'm a coach through the courses.
Nice. That is so awesome. So now, the adage goes, every great coach had a coach, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually spoke about your law professor as well, right? So would
Yes,
you say your law professor, along with a few others, who was instrumental in getting you where you are
absolutely.
today?
So there's like anyone that I've had conversations with in my life, I have seen as a coach. I am like very meek, humble, receiving person. So anytime I come across anybody, I'm learning constantly all the time. Especially when I was looking for answers on how I could, own real estate and things like that. So I'm always learning and taking in all kinds of information. And even today, I can look at trees and really get messages. It sounds crazy, but I'm like, wow, they are really guiding me. It's guiding me all the time. And so
Yeah,
anytime someone I'm interacting with, I'm receiving that goodness and that positivity that the world has put us in. But 4 years ago, when I walked into that networking event, those people really became my coaches. They had a group called Flip Savage. That was the name of the group at the time. Unfortunately, the owner of the group passed away, so they kind of never got it started. But we all remained in a really close circle. And
nice.
so that was, yeah, they've been the coaches. Some of the first Black people that I ever sold land to, um, we became end up becoming best friends as well. They've been like coach likes in my life. A lot of my friends are older. I'm 30. I'm just turned 30. And so they're all, they are, everything is a coach to me. I'm very receiving of information. And that's what makes me so easy to be able to naturally coach others, because I'm always being coached, always. So,
Nice, nice. So, as far as books, right? As far as books, reading books, people always have, certain books that they, refer to, certain books that they may say, hey man, if you should read this, good book. What are three books that you've read that, that you would
so yeah,
mark?
I wasn't a huge book person. I know my brother recommended, was my mentor brother, Getting the Money. That book changed my life. It showed me how to actually start raising private money, and not even have to use my own for all these deals. Because the more deals that you do, like if you want to just always be using other people's money, because then you'll always be low, you always run out. So it taught me how to leverage my sphere of influence. So now I have access to an unlimited amount of funds. I can buy anything that I want, um, with with my circle. So I love that. The Getting the Money book tapped into that. Then there's law school. There was a whole bunch of cases. Like we had to read like 50 pages every day. And so I was reading cases all the time that really put real estate and the way the world works in perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was the law school cases. And it's funny because most people go to law school and they're like, even my professor was telling us about those, taxes. I'm like, are you guys listening to what they're saying? Are you reading what I'm reading? Like they just gave us the code to be millionaires. Like, and everyone's like, like, I guess
Hmm.
they just go through the motions, but not actually really
Right.
take that information in. Like, you need
Yeah.
to be like
They was
always in
there.
a situation to be coached. Yeah, for
They
your
was there. They
children.
was there. And
Yeah.
we was talking about on the podcast last night that we was realizing that the people who get the courses and stuff for free are generally the ones that's the most ambitious versus because we was talking about debt relief yesterday, and we was talking about how most of those people didn't even graduate, didn't even get a degree, but they get all this debt. And there's other people who actually sat there and paid attention, like who actually apply everything that they really learned and actually went out and like crushed the game, right?
Right.
And this is what sounds like took place, with you, like you gathered enough information, you gather, enough mentors along the way, and that's actually brought you, to where you are right now.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely correct. And then it's a relationship piece. And so I even tell like my mentors, like they're coming to the they're gonna be coming to the Mingle with Millionaires, some of them, but it's a relationship thing and it's all about giving back. And so when you activate abundance or you really get to where you think you want to be or where your biggest dream is for fulfillment, it is giving back. And so that's why, you know, they have been able to pour into me, and then I pour into other people, and other people, the people I pour in start pouring into other people, and it's just like it's a cycle. And so, you know, even when I pour into other people, it may not be them that's pouring directly back into me, right? But what'll happen is it's the universe that'll make it worthwhile, and it's the feeling. Every time you do an action, there's a reaction. So the act of pouring in activates a positive feeling in you.
Exactly.
There's that direct, and then there's also the, you know, it's going to come back in one way, shape, or form.
Period.
That you put out comes back. It may not be from them, and I never pour into someone. I'm looking with my hand out, like, okay, my turn, come back. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever read the book of The Secret. You know, it's about the law of attraction. It's about the same.
Oh, you know what? Yes, I did hear about that. It's on Netflix. They have a Netflix thing, right?
Yeah, I believe they do. I know they got a YouTube thing now. You know, everybody's everywhere now. But yeah, you know, that book basically
everywhere.
Like that book literally took you reap what you sow. It kind of made it manifest into letting everybody know, like, hey, you know, this is the secret, right? You put these vibes out, you're gonna get these vibes back. You put this energy out, you're gonna get this energy back. You know what I mean?
I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and you know, you touch people like this as well, right? This is how you actually touch people. Because we was actually talking earlier when I was in Keller Williams, when I was talking to the sellers or whatever. And you know, we was talking about how they had took a person who was living in one of their apartments. It was vacant. They had took him out, put him in the hotel, redid the whole place, put him in it, gave him like 6 months to pay his rent or whatever. And he was saying every time that they go talk to the guy, like he always has like a fresh box of donuts for him. And you know, and the seller was saying like people just don't know, like that guy, like the seller was saying that guy has no one's idea what's in store for him just for that 75-cent donut. And I was just saying, like, you know, just the smallest gestures get people by. You know,
it's more, it's energy. It's not what you're doing, it's the energy you're putting into it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely, everything is about energy. So I'm huge on energy. Yeah, I'm gonna check out that movie too.
Yeah, most definitely. So do you drink coffee?
No. I don't drink coffee.
You drink Kool-Aid?
No. Just water. Water.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a water girl.
Well, because you know, I was put some questions in here. If you could have a meeting, right? Excuse me. If you can have a coaching session with one historical figure, who would you choose?
A coaching session with
one coaching session. You know what I'm saying? Like me, it'd be Les Brown for me. I don't know if you know about Les Brown, right? But Les Brown,
actor, right?
Les Brown. Now he's like the number one motivational guy ever. Like, so you say Tony Robbins, I'll say Les Brown, but Les Brown is real. Like for me, it'd be Les Brown, right? That'd be like one historical person who I like to have lunch with, right? So like, who is one historical figure that you like to have lunch with? Like, who would you choose?
I guess I can relate a lot with Malcolm X. I like Malcolm X because a lot of his teachings were people didn't agree with necessarily, and he, you know, really had a passion to make a big difference.
Yeah, most definitely. My view on Malcolm X is like a lot of people don't know. Like a lot of people never pay attention to the economic side of Malcolm X or what Malcolm X was pushing economically. Right? A lot of people don't, you know, they don't, you know, yeah. That's for another podcast. right. But but a lot of people don't get what he was trying to do economically, man. You know, they just don't get it. And you know, as far as the farming and you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people don't, you know, they don't really get this. But yeah, that's awesome though, man. Real quick, we got 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
And I just want to touch on a few things on your book, right? Because you do got a book, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the book is The Secret to Building a Successful Empire, right, guys?
Yes,
The
sir.
book is out now. You guys can go. I'm about to put the website here. You guys can go and grab that book. What itched you, you know, to write this book? You know, what made you say, "Hey, I need to write this book"?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for putting the link up there. Perfect. I felt like my story, I wanted to tell the story because it can be done. Everything I've done can, and everybody else has access to. We all the same energy and we all have access. And so I really wanted to be able to reach a wider range of people by being able to just get the book and read it rather than having to sit down, I only have so much time in the day and can get back to so much calls and things. So I wanted to be able to reach a wider scale of people with the teachings that I'm able to teach. And that's why, and it's just kind of, breaks down the fundamentals that I believe led me to the mindsets and to the success. Things like, thinking as big. There's no dream too big. There's always a way around any situation, and don't be afraid of that. I also talk about a time and place for humility. Um, you want to be meek. Like I'm a natural. I'm a meek person. So it was hard. Even starting off, it was hard for a lot of my friends. I don't want to say friends, but a lot of the people that were with me in the beginning, it was hard for them to see me as a coach all of a sudden because we were neck and neck, or I was too humble, and it's just kind of hard. It gets funny. So we talk about that a little bit. Um, and just gives you the tools and the confidence so that you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve.
Most definitely, man. I definitely believe that with all my heart. I
Yeah.
tell people all the time. I've been wholesaling for 2 years, but within these 2 years, I've acquired properties. Right, I've acquired properties of my own. In
Good for
2 years,
you.
so to where just like getting in the door is, you know, you can start with wholesale. You know, you can start with wholesale.
Right, because you don't have to have any money down.
Exactly. So, you know, and then, you know, you can grow, and then you can become a realtor, you can become a broker, you know, investor. You can own the number one realtor firm in Tampa. You gotta take Lex out first because it's hers right now. So you know, it's yours right now. So once again, man, the word for um the guys, man, if they wanted to join, you know, the brokerage. They can join, you know, hit lexlandrealty.com.
/join Lexland. Yep. And there's some videos on there that goes in detail on how we've been helping other agents skyrocket their real estate businesses. And then there is an option to schedule a one-on-one Zoom meeting with us. And then we will onboard you if you decide that we are going to fit, and we decide we're going to fit, you're going to fit with us.
Nice.
So it's a wonderful opportunity.
So if somebody wanted to send you some deals, can they send you, if they're in Tampa or in the state of Florida, can they send you some deals?
Absolutely. To see about buying. Yep.
That's your email right here at alexis.monroe7
7@gmail. Yep.
gmail.com.
Yes.
Guys, look, we're here with Alexis Monroe. It has been beautiful. Guys, listen, you got to get the book, right? Because I went to the website. I'm going to get the book. So I can read the book. Because, yeah, I mean, you ain't going to be on this thing and I don't read the book. I wish I would have read the book first.
Oh, that'd have been great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish I should have read. I wish I would have read the book first, and then But guys, get the book.
Oh, here we go.
The address is on the screen. Oh, bam! There go the book. Yeah, yes, sir. There's the book, y'all guys. Order that book, The Secrets to Building a
Successful Empire.
Empire. GoDaddy site. And don't forget the Mingling with Millionaires. Saturday, October the 22nd. We're going to be at where again?
At Tampa Bay Embark Collective. Saturday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yep. I will be there. Every powerful person in Tampa Bay is going to be there. Some of the most powerful people.
Go on down, guys. Yeah, well, I don't want to know why A&E ain't called you yet. Now. We need to get your A&E something. You know what I'm saying?
A&E?
Yeah, something. You know, all these brokers going around. They need to see some real stuff on A&E there. You know, the only like real show on A&E about flipping anything is the show Jamil and Pace Morby do. It's $1 million flip. So you know, they need somebody like you on there, man. Showing some real life stuff, stuff scripted. Because they would say they wasn't gonna do it. They said they weren't gonna do the show on A&E because it was scripted. They like, listen, if y'all let us do what we do, then we do the show. You know what I mean? So I definitely get that, man. So guys, once again, Mr. Alexis Monroe, don't forget the land course. She do have the land course. I did just drop a link in the description, guys. This link will also be tagged in the YouTube video as well as the updated Facebook post about this podcast. Guys, don't forget to follow Alex. She just started the Instagram, so we need to get her over there on the Instagram, guys. There's some good content on that. And she also got the TikTok too. And she got like 10,000 people on her TikTok, loving her on TikTok. I feel like people on TikTok watch your TikTok. I feel like they like immediately watch your TikTok and go do like go try something.
Go do something, yeah.
They go try something like yeah, because like how you make your content. You be like, damn, I never thought about that. Let me go. Let me go try that.
Because I think people do come back. They're like, I've been researching. I've been binge watched YouTube.
I've seen some of the comments.
Other ways to like research, and they'll see and they'll find other content.
I've seen some of the comments, so I know that these people watch your content, and they go out and try stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So that is awesome, guys. Definitely go visit her on TikTok as well. It is Alexis Monroe. It's Alexis Monroe.
TikTok is Lex_land.
Lex_land. That's what it is, guys. My apologies, Lex_.
No, that's perfect.
You gotta follow her, guys, because she got some great content, and she's really funny on TikTok too. But she's serious most of the time. So about getting that money, guys. Lex, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Lenny.
It's been awesome, man. Digging into you a bit. I'm definitely gonna get this book, guys. Once again, you guys gotta get this book, right? Because she's doing it, right? She's doing it. Like, this person who's on the podcast and she's actually doing it. She's not talking about it. You gotta see the logo on the wall back there. She got the whole logo. I got the green screen, but she got the logo.
So cute, yeah. That's the team. That's the first. That's the starting 5.
Yeah, so y'all know she's serious, man. So, guys, once again, if you guys in Tampa, in Florida, and you guys don't know what to do, man, fresh out of school, you guys need to definitely visit LexLandRealty.com/join LexLand. Hey, once again, man, it's been a pleasure. Hope to have you on the podcast again. We definitely, expound a little bit, talk about more the events that you hold and how someone can get a hold of you to, get an event going.
Yeah.
And, things of that nature, man. So thank you so much for coming back.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. You have a great night.
No doubt. You guys have a good one.
See ya.
Thank you.